Good morning, all you freedom loving patriots out there. This is Craig Gibson from Sons of Liberty. So, we are back with our Constitution Coffee and Service videos. Um, we actually shot this video yesterday, had uploaded it, or thought we had uploaded it, and I had deleted it before I realized that it never uploaded. It may have been too long, it may have been due to the fact that internet around the area was a little slow yesterday due to the storms the night before. So we're going to try this again and hopefully get this up today. So this week, our coffee of the week comes from Black Rifle Coffee Company. It is their Thin Blue Line coffee roast. Now, this is a nice medium roast, got great flavor. The cool thing about this one is proceeds from, or a portion of the proceeds from the sales of Thin Blue Line goes to help organizations helping law enforcement and their families. Black Rifle Coffee has always been a great company and always tried to give back to the community, whether it's through veterans organizations or supporting first responders, among other things they've done. I know they've been running specials during this pandemic where every bag of coffee that you buy, they would send a bag to healthcare workers on the front lines. So stop in, give it a try, or go to their website, order you a bag. They've also got a brand new 5-alarm coffee roast supporting firefighters. So check them out or come by the store, give it a try. We've got a few of their different varieties on the shelf. And they're always bringing out some new ones that we're able to carry, so we're trying to get them in just as quick as we can. In fact, I think it's coffee time. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Constitution. All right. The writer William Faulkner once said that we must be free, not because we proclaim it, but because we practice it. Now, thinking about that, the great rights that we have in this country requires great responsibility. And unfortunately, there are those who use those rights irresponsibly or irresponsibly give them up for no reason. Constitution, the founding fathers, when they put these words to paper, they acknowledged that these words were not theirs. They acknowledged that the rights that they were going to put on this document were not created by man. The rights were not going to be protected specifically by this document. They couldn't be taken away with or without this document, really, because they acknowledged that these rights were given to humanity by God the Creator. Well, no law that man can create can essentially take your rights away. Now, what do I mean by that? Because obviously, you can give up your rights, you can have them taken away. At least in a physical sense. But to totally erase the rights of the people from existence can't happen. Now, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be willing to stand up for our rights, to fight for our rights, and to never give them up for any reason. And I know there's a lot of people out there right now that would say that I'm wrong. There's a lot of people out there that would say, well, nobody's giving up their rights, they're choosing life. Well, here's the funny thing about that. A lot of the people that are supposedly choosing life are the same people that you would see out on a pro-choice rally or a rally to defend and fund Planned Parenthood, one of the leading institutions of children being murdered every year. But because science only matters when it benefits people, the whole idea is, well, it can't survive on its own. It relies on the mother, so it's not a life yet. So you're telling me that even once that baby is born into this world, who still relies on the mother, relies on the father, or whoever the caregiver is, relies on another human being to make sure they're fed, they're clothed, they're changed, they're bathed, they get to the doctor, they get them any medications they need. So you're telling me that that is not a life, even though it is, at this point, it is now a living, breathing being with a heartbeat, with a brain that is physically in front of you, but you're saying that that's not a life. Or let's take it a step further. An elderly person who, through medical issues, needs somebody there by their side to bathe them, to feed them, to change them, to care for them. Are you saying that they are not a life? Because now they require somebody else to care for them, to provide for them. You see, this is where when I start hearing arguments pro-abortion and that, no. There is, to me personally, there is no excuse. Because for every argument you can put out there to support it, there is evidence, fact, truth, counter arguments that blow your argument out of the water. So, but these people are supposedly choosing life. So does that mean we're not going to have any more abortion rallies? Pro-choice rallies? Defense of Planned Parenthood rallies? No, of course not. Because once things get back to normal and people can get back to their everyday lives, they're going to be right back at it again. We're still going to be divided as a nation. We're still going to be divided among so many different lines. And the saddest part is, during all of this, we've seen even more division, the politicizing of this. But you know what else we've seen? We've seen people exercising their constitutional rights. We've seen people continue to go to church, whether it's a drive-up service, online. We've seen more and more people, especially with the online services, that are being reached with the gospel because of these online services. We've seen families come back together. We've seen parents and children reconnect because they've had no choice. We've seen an increase in people exercising their Second Amendment right, going out, purchasing firearms, many of which for the first time ever. Many of these are the same people who would argue prior about how easy it was to get a gun. And they're now finding out that it's not as simple as they think it is. And that's why most crimes are committed with stolen or illegally purchased weapons. And they're also finding out that a lot of those crimes are committed with pistols and not rifles, as they would have you believe. Have there been rifle-involved mass incidents of shooting? Of course there have. But that does not mean you take away the rights of the people to stop it, because it doesn't help. It doesn't do anything, because criminals will always get what they need. They will find another way. If they have murder on their heart, they will find a way. So we've seen people exercising their rights, but we've also seen people willingly giving up their rights. And it's interesting because some of the people that make the argument that, well, they're choosing life. Okay, but you're pro Second Amendment, right? But you don't like it when people, in your words, are choosing life by attending these anti-gun rallies. See, you can't have it both ways. You either stand up for freedom, you stand up for your rights, but you use them responsibly. Or you follow with the sheep to, unfortunately, the slaughter. Whether it's through slavery and not necessarily like what we saw at the beginning of the country and other parts of the world, and is still going on in other parts of the world today. Just for those who believe it was only evil white people that committed acts of slavery, but slavery through the bondage of giving people this false sense of security by depending on entitlements. Don't get me wrong, there are people out there that absolutely need a little assistance. They might need some assistance with some health care, Medicare, Medicaid. They might need some assistance with some food stamps, some housing, paying an electric bill. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there getting that assistance that use it responsibly. And then there's those that use it irresponsibly. I mean, it's like everything in the world. Every individual has to make the decision, am I going to be a responsible person? Am I going to be a responsible American? Use this for the time that I need it and work my tail off to break those chains, to break that bondage. So guys, we got to use our rights responsibly. Okay. That means, if somebody chooses to stay home because they don't want to get the virus, or they're in the category of people that are more susceptible to the virus, or maybe they take care of loved ones that are more susceptible to the virus. Well, okay, if they choose to stay home for that reason, find out what you can do to help them. Now, if they choose to stay home and they are the ones who are out there reporting businesses for being open, reporting their neighbors for going to take care of something that they don't deem essential, still, do what you can to help them. And maybe they will understand why you cannot dictate what is essential and what is not essential. Because what may be essential to one may not be essential to somebody else. And that's okay. But by the same token, those of you who choose to stay home for safety, don't judge and begrudge those who are still working, who are still living their lives. Because you never know the background of somebody. You never know where they come from, or what they've done, or what education and experience they have. And just because they disagree with the experts, just because you and they disagree, doesn't mean they're evil, doesn't mean they hate you, just means you have a disagreement. That's the great thing about this country. We are all allowed to have our own opinions. We are all allowed to have our own thoughts. It's those pesky rights that we talk about that were put to paper in the Constitution. Okay, guys, so next week we're actually going to dive right into the Constitution. We're going to start with the preamble. We're going to go through the different sections following, and my brain just went blank. Apparently I need more coffee this morning. But I want to leave you with this. Benjamin Franklin. Okay, and I know, depending on who sees this video, this is going to get attacked. But just listen before you let your mind wander away here. Benjamin Franklin is believed to have written the following words: "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Now, that's where the attack comes in, because you always get the people, well, he wasn't talking about this, and he wasn't talking about... Okay, look, this letter was written prior to the Revolutionary War. It was written like 1751. Okay, so obviously before everything just kind of blew up and we became the United States. All right? And yes, he is believed to have written this letter on behalf of the Pennsylvania General Assembly over a tax dispute. But just because that is when he wrote it, and that's what he wrote it about, does not make it any less relevant today, because the same still stands. If you are willing to give up essential, there's the key word right there, essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety, you deserve neither. Think about after 9/11. Think about the Patriot Act. Some elements of it sounded great. Some, it was like, I don't know about this. And we see what's evolved from that. Everything put forth by the government, even when it has the best of intentions, there is way too much opportunity to take advantage of it and to use it against the people. So, just something to think about, guys. All right. Hope y'all are staying safe, staying healthy, living your lives to the best of your ability right now. Given everything that's been going on, for our service portion, we dedicate this to all the men and women out there on the front lines, treating patients, still responding to calls, working for treatment options, and just working crazy hours. This is dedicated to their service. Our doctors, our nurses, our radiology techs, the janitorial staff, the food services staff, the CNAs, the LPNs, the administrators, the intake personnel, our military men and women who are working side by side with these doctors and nurses and first responders to take care of this virus. Those who were answered the recall to come back into military service, to be on the front lines, to take care of the citizens of this country. Our police, our firefighters, and our EMS personnel who respond every time that 911 is called. And they come out there and they take care of business. This is dedicated to them. And with that, I want you guys to understand something, because a lot of people don't get this. Because we hear a lot in the media right now about, healthcare workers being afraid of getting this virus. And let me explain something to you. Healthcare workers, when they go into that profession, they should be going in with their eyes wide open and knowing that at any given time, they could contract something that they could take home to their families. They could contract something that could kill them. I can't even remember the number of times that my dad, working as an EMT on an ambulance, had to take some medication or have blood draws so many times, get different shots over the 40-year course of a career, because doing his duty, responding to a patient, a call for help, put himself in harm's way and could have possibly contracted, several different things over the years. We hear so much about keeping people locked down and separated because you could carry this virus and not know it and pass it on to others. Well, there's other deadly diseases out there that happens with. This is not the first one. This will not be the last one. So again, yes, they're still on the front lines. They're still working. And you know what? There are some who, from the onset of this thing, decided they were not going to go to work because they were more concerned about themselves and taking this home to their families, that they decided not to show up. There's a lot of things you could say about that, but everybody has to make their own decision on this. But to those who are still working, who are still out there doing their job, taking care of the patients, responding to emergencies, thank you. I hope everything goes well. Hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy. You can keep your families healthy. But thank you for continuing to do your job, even in all the chaos. All right, guys, as always, faith, not fear. And we will be back next week with the next installment of Constitution Coffee and Service.